for women who want to fight inflammation, live longer, and look and feel younger, what would be the 3 things you think women should add or subtract from their lives to see the biggest improvement? Ooh, I like this question. Okay, 3 things. I'm a checklist gal. 3 things that women should think about to be more healthy. We've talked about some of them, but I'm going to really try to make this simple so that you can leave this podcast, or if you're watching it on YouTube, you can leave and you can apply it. Okay. So, first thing, we got to know the hormonal hierarchy. The hormonal hierarchy says that your sex hormones are massively controlled by your insulin sensitivity. So if you're insulin resistant, your sex hormones will be off. PCOS is a great example of that. Okay, then above insulin is cortisol. And cortisol says that if you're under stress, you will stay insulin resistant. And if you're insulin resistant, you are going to have trouble balancing your sex hormones. So manage stress. Stress is more important than what you are eating and how you are fasting. How you're the Eat Like a Girl, Fast Like a Girl was all about this metabolic switch in helping you understand how to get yourself insulin sensitive so you could balance your sex hormones. That's the whole premise of those 2 books. But what I'm here to tell you today is that cortisol, no matter how well you fast, how well you break your fast, how well you eat, if you are chronically in a cortisol saturated environment, you will struggle to balance insulin and you will struggle to balance sex hormones. So cortisol is really important to regulate. But if you talk to any woman in the modern world, they're like, well, shoot, I'm trying to regulate cortisol. It's a really hard hormone to regulate because everything around me is so stressful. Well, that's why at the top of the hierarchy is oxytocin. Oxytocin calms cortisol. It helps then balance insulin, and it gets you insulin sensitive again, and it helps you balance your sex hormones. So rule number 1 for women is prioritize oxytocin above everything else. Think about that. Above everything else as a female, your most important health habit is to prioritize oxytocin. So where do you get oxytocin? Connection to humans. I'm reading a beautiful book right now called In a Different Voice. And it's a book put out by a feminist philosopher. And it was written back in the 1980s. And the book talks about how when we look at the female brain in comparison to the male brain, now this was written in the 80s, so I'm phrasing it, I'm not excluding the non-binary community in general. What we know about the female brain and the male brain is that the female brain is more geared towards relationships. Everything the female brain wants to do is to connect in relationships, and it thinks through the lens of relationships. Whereas the male brain is more linear. It likes rules. It likes to make rules. It likes to break rules. It likes to follow rules. It's a much more linear brain. So again, I understand this is high generalization. So it's a tricky topic because I don't want to offend anyone. But when we look at the health habits of women, we need to act in accordance to our body. And one of the ways that we know what our body and our brain is constantly looking for is positive relationships. When we are in positive relationship with people, we have oxytocin, and that calms cortisol and balances insulin and balances our sex hormones. So your number 1 health habit is keep connecting with loving, uplifting people. Keep putting yourself in environments where you're getting oxytocin. Instead of going to the gym one day and pounding the treadmill to try to get your body to drop weight, maybe what you need to do is actually skip the gym that day and go call your bestie and make time for the people in your life that love you and want to support you. That might be a more beneficial health habit for you in that moment than trying harder, doing more, dieting more, working more. Oxytocin and relationships heal a woman's body. And we need to bring that conversation back. Okay, second, because the question was, what are the 3 that would fight inflammation? The second thing I would tell you is act in accordance to your rhythms. It's like what I mentioned earlier. Act in accordance to your rhythm. Your circadian rhythm really matters. Are you getting light at the right time? I've done a ton of videos and podcasts on this. Are you prioritizing sleep? It's part of your circadian rhythm. It's where your brain heals and detoxifies. To prioritize sleep, for God's sake, you burn fat when you sleep. You detox your brain when you sleep. You repair your organs when you sleep. You reset your circadian rhythm when you sleep. And when that circadian rhythm is in balance, your hormones will be in balance. So it's this, I hope this badge of honor that we're staying up late and we can accomplish a lot, or women who just are like, I've just, sleep is, I can get away with a lot of sleep. No, you can't. You are a rhythmic human. And your rhythm demands that you are put into the day-night cycle. So follow the rules of circadian rhythm. The other rhythm that we haven't talked about on this podcast yet is your nervous system rhythm. Your nervous system rhythm switches just like your metabolic system, and it switches over into a place where it can go into a sympathetic, where it's in fight or flight, and then it needs to switch back into the parasympathetic rest and digest. So make sure that you're getting enough rest and digest, because if you stay in sympathetic too long, you're now cortisol saturated. We've already talked about what that does. And you eventually will move to a third nervous system. It's a part of a theory called the polyvagal theory, where you go into a freeze mode. And so many women are in freeze mode, where they're disassociating, they're numbing themselves with food and alcohol and drugs, and social media, and people pleasing, and workaholic attitudes, because we are so stuck in a freeze nervous system. So where are you resting? Where are you recovering? When are you going to allow your parasympathetic nervous system to be able to have a chance to mature? If you're constantly in a stress rhythm, you will find that your female body feels like it's working against you. So we need to look at our rhythms, our circadian rhythm, our nervous system rhythm, our metabolic rhythm, our hormonal rhythm. I have in Eat Like a Girl, I have a new concept. I've talked about it here. It's one of the most popular podcasts we've done, and it's called the dysregulation loop. How each one of these rhythms are getting thrown off by the modern world, and they're causing so many health challenges for both men and women, but largely for women. So we've got to stop dysregulating ourselves and put ourselves back into all these rhythms. And if you look at all these rhythms, you look at the metabolic rhythm. I taught you, hey, guess what? Eating all day long is actually putting you in a metabolic dysregulated state. I taught you that, hey, when you stress all the time, you're actually putting yourself in a nervous system dysregulated state. I taught you about, in the Fast Like a Girl and Eat Like a Girl, how if we eat the same foods, if we fast the same way all month long, or even for my postmenopausal friends, that you will put yourself in hormonal dysregulation. When we eat the same foods all the time, we put ourselves in microbial dysregulation. So rhythm, regulate yourself. And it ties well to the principle number 1, which is hang out in oxytocin-rich environments. And when you hang out in oxytocin-rich environments, most women will figure out they're now getting themselves back into some kind of rhythm. So see yourself through the rhythm lens. It's actually women gathering together to build homes
for mothers who don't have a roof over their head in Mexico. So Finding Sophia, thank you for what you're doing for women in the world. And thank you for those of you who are donating or volunteering and supporting this incredible nonprofit.
And then, the third and the last one I will probably put in there for health habits for longevity and inflammation. And that's putting yourself or avoiding, this one's going to be a little more of an avoiding toxic anything, toxic food, toxic people, toxic environments, toxic social media. The toxic piece of the modern world is violent. The way that people are delivering, well-intending people are delivering messages on social media can be harmful, because there's a lot of do this, don't do that. There's a lot of you are powerless. You need a doctor. You need a diet. You need a health influencer. You need a president of your country. You need somebody to save yourself. Nobody's coming to save you. You are coming to save yourself. And each time you put yourself in these toxic environments, you shed another layer and you give another layer of your power away. So look at your environments and ask yourself, is this a nurturing, healing environment for me? Or am I putting myself chronically into these toxic places that are taking me out of balance with the wisdom of my female body? So toxic, anything, plastics. This is a hot topic. Plastics, phthalates. Phthalates are the air fresheners. So we know the chemicals are destroying us. Heavy metals, massively destroying us. But then social media, I've curated my Instagram. That's where I spend most of my social media time for my own personal use. I've curated it to be, animals, funny people, places I want to travel to. Anybody who has a toxic message, I unfollow, because I don't want their toxic thinking into mine. This is why I highlight for you all N of 1. And Eat Like a Girl, I talk about N of 1. You have to find your own rhythm and path with your health. Stop waiting for some guru to show you. Be your own guru. So where are you putting your mind? Where are you putting your body? What are you putting into your mind? What are you putting into your body? And is it toxic? If it's toxic, it's taking you out of rhythm with your female body. And when you're out of rhythm with your female body, you lose oxytocin. And when you lose oxytocin, all the other hormones fall apart. Make sense? So again, I'm here to offer a more empowering thought, a thought that is so needed right now in our culture. And I'm here to give you the keys to your own queendom back, that you are in control of your health. Where you sit right now may not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. And it starts with understanding how this brilliant body you live in works, having appreciation for it, and being highly curious about how you can get the most out of it.